myself, I'm a man of wealth and taste. I've been around for a long, long year. Stole many a man's soul of faith. I was around when Jesus Christ had his moment of doubt and pain. Made damn sure the pilot washed his hands and sealed his face. Pleased to meet you. Hope you guess my name.
All right, welcome to the first episode of the Beard Speaks podcast. And I'm Pat, your host, and I have with me today my buddy, Vincent. Vince, say hello to everyone.
Hey, Pat, brother, what's happening?
What's happening? You know, that was a little longer than 30 seconds. Come and get me, Jagger. I don't know what to say. But anyway, I'm excited. This is episode numero uno of the Beard Speaks podcast. And if people have come from the old podcast to the new podcast, welcome. And I don't have my intro like I did before, and I've just been kind of going with it on this, and I love the Stones, so there we are. If they want to get me, let them get me. Anyway,
my nickname was Lucifer for about 25 years, so I appreciate the unintentional nod.
See how that worked, kind of. See how that worked. And this episode, the first episode, will be titled "The Christian and the Atheist." I love it. I love it. Nice, it just shows how.
Dude, I feel totally privileged, and thank you for inviting me for your first podcast.
Oh, awesome! I knew it would be perfect with you, and I said, this is a perfect a show of peace between, that everyone can live in harmony, no matter what, right?
Absolutely.
That's how it works. That's how life is. Yeah. So anyway, first of all, everyone, Vince is he's got his own show called Creativity Talking, and we're going to talk about that a little later. And I might be popping on that show too sometime, so it'll be very interesting to be on with you guys, because it sounds like a lot of fun. Sounds like a lot of fun. But so yeah, I mean, I got a couple things. This show is going to be a little bit different. If people come in from my old show, a little bit different. This is kind of laid back, dudes talking about dude stuff, beards, obviously, and motorcycles, guitars, music, cars, all the good stuff. And we're going to kind of stay away from the political realm and just kind of be cool and talk about that kind of stuff. So the first thing I wanted to kind of touch on was I'm kind of, it's this whole I love music, and Vin, you're a music guy too, right? You used to be a singer, right?
Yeah.
I mean, so
actually the first time I sang in 20 years, you pushed me up on stage.
That's true. Actually, yeah, you're right. Yeah, that's true.
You're like, you're singing Queensryche. I'm like, dude, it's 20 years. I'm like, going Queensryche, maybe.
Yeah, you got to try. No, you got to try, right? But it's what do you call it? It's been kind of crazy these last couple of years, right? With COVID and the shutdowns and stuff like that. Music's been kind of like nowhere.
Well, it's very interesting because it's all the creative things. It's not just that. It's comedy. It's music. It's, even going to see, even sitting at a bar listening to music.
Right.
There's a DJ there. Is there karaoke? There's no karaoke.
Yeah. There's no bar.
All this stuff.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. And entertainers really suffered a lot the last couple of years. And, things have been coming around slowly but surely. And one of the things I've been kind of like looking at is like concerts coming back, and I've gone to a couple, and it's been pretty cool. In the beginning I thought, man, people are going to be a little scared to kind of come back out and see the show. So I didn't see the crowds like you used to, So it was a little disappointing, but still, it's awesome. It's awesome to go out there. Live music is, for me, that's just, I love it. I love being around, just the stage and just being around, the crowd. It's great. It's just, it kind of brings back that whole, vibe we had even growing up and being in bands and playing and going out there. So just being around music is just something awesome. And it's just sad with COVID. So, but anyway, so
yeah, because it's not just it's the bartenders, the servers,
right?
The bar backs, the sound guys, the lighting guys, if there are any, and
right.
It's it's all down it's insane what's happened, because we were just getting to a place where music had come back. It changed.
Right.
The music business changed, and now there was live music everywhere, man. It was great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like a wrecking ball came through.
Right.
But so that leads into my my segment here. I wanted to go over like now it's all happening, and this show,
dude, yes,
is coming.
It's really happening.
So I don't know how big of a fan you are, but here they come, right? This Motley Crue show with Def Leppard, Poison, and Joan Jett. So it was canceled. I think it was canceled because of COVID in 2020. I think a big tour was announced and everything.
Yeah, it was delayed like 18 months.
Like 18 months.
They just added like 8 shows. They have one in Indiana now. They just added today.
Oh, what are they? One in Indiana. Yeah, they're just adding more shows, and they said there's like over 1 million tickets sold and whatnot, and it's cool, man. I grew up, obviously, man. I think Motley Crue was one of the first bands, Motley Crue, Rat, that I saw that I was like, yeah, man, that's what I want to do. You remember Friday Night Videos?
Yep.
Man, we used to sit in my backyard and we had like a little, 15-inch black and white TV that my parents would put in the backyard, and we'd sit there on Friday nights and watch Friday Night Videos. And that's the first time I saw it. Seriously.
Too Young to Fall in Love.
Oh, dude, yeah.
Dude, I used to have to go up to Great America to watch that one, and like from Bow Wow Wow, I Want Candy.
Oh, yeah.
And then there was another metal band that was like Shock Paris was another one.
Right.
That was, Killer Dwarfs.
Killer Dwarfs. Sabotage. Oh, I loved Sabotage. Yeah, they were just awesome. But I mean, the whole Friday Night Video thing. Yeah, watching Too Young to Fall in Love to come on, and then actually, what made me want to play guitar was the video. Well, besides growing up around music anyway, when I was a little kid, my parents were like Elvis fans, and there was Italian music going on in my house all the time. But not until I saw this, right? Then I was like, wait a minute. Okay, Elvis doesn't do this, right? And I saw the video for Round and Round, and when Warren DeMartini comes flying through the ceiling and he's playing a guitar solo, I'm like, yeah, man, that's what I want to do, And my dad go and buy me a guitar.
That's the video that made me go in my first band.
See that Rat Round and Round, man. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah. But I'm
a huge Motley Crue fan.
Okay.
Here's how it started. So when Motley first came out, the first album I wasn't privy to yet. When Shout at the Devil came out, it was everywhere.
Right.
And, I grew up a Catholic kid.
Right.
And, I had my issues with that. I kicked mom out because she got divorced. I was a divorced kid.
Right.
I wasn't treated well at the school, so that kind of soured me.
Right.
On stuff. And then I was like, when I saw him, like a pentagram, I'm like, I can't listen to this. I'm like, wait.
Right. Right.
Like, can we swear?
Right. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm like, well, all this stuff. I'm like, wow, that's I'm like, well, Russia has a pentagram on their thing.
Right.
And whatever. And, my thoughts changed right around that time anyway with that stuff. But Motley Crue, great fucking band.
Right.
And, and it's unfortunate because I don't think Vince should sing.
I know.
That kills me to say, Pat. It kills me to say that.
And I'm glad, I didn't know where you stood on this, but when I made that comment about I'm not on that side where people are ripping on him, and I feel horrible because exactly, man, I love Motley Crue, right? And it's today, like I was telling you earlier, I sat and I got Amazon Music on, and I listened to every single Motley Crue album, including Karabi's, which I think is also another really good album. But
it's a great album.
I'm listening and I didn't really know the story, even though as big of a fan I was, of what was going on behind like Generation Swine when Vince Neil came back to the band. Apparently, a lot of those songs were already written, and Vince came in and they're like, "Yeah, just sing this," And that album is almost unlistenable. I don't know what you think.
I totally agree. Shout at the Devil 97 was kind of a cool thing that they did.
It was. It was.
Like it was weird because Motley Crue and Metallica went like high fashion that year. The weirdest thing.
Mm-hmm, right.
But Motley, you could kind of accept it because they kind of, they were in glam and all that stuff.
Right,
but
right.
Weird to see Metallica go.
Yeah, I know. That was, it was just kind of a strange year for those, like, for our genre. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I saw just listening to that today, and I felt like I was forcing myself. I'm like, no, dude, just listen to the whole album. So, you could kind of soak it in, and it's been a long time, because it's weird. Like with all these bands, you go back and you listen to, more of their first, couple albums, and then it's like, what are you guys doing? And I get it, being a musician, you try to, kind of venture out and try different things and experiment, whatever. And you shouldn't be pigeonholed to just play one thing all the time. I think one of the, biggest things I ever learned, being a huge fan of George Lynch, my idol, right? He said one time, he's like, don't just play one style of music. Always expand your horizons so you become a better player.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I get it that, they want to do that. But so like I said, some of those albums just, New Tattoo was pretty okay. There was a couple good songs. Saints of Los Angeles was a really good album. I dug that.
I really like that album.
Yeah. I mean, that was obviously the last one I listened to, and it was really good.
Mick didn't play guitar on it, but.
Right. I know.
DJ Ashton.
Yeah. So with Vince. So let's go to Vince. So
so let's start out with Vince Neil. Here's my opinion on it.
Right.
Being a Vince and a singer, and
right.
Relating. So, okay, I just lost 20 pounds.
I see that. Nice, man. Good job.
Thank you. It took me 10 weeks. I made small changes.
Right.
I don't have access to trainers. I don't have access to other things, and that's fine. But you know what? I got an electronic drum kit. That's my cardio 5 times a week now.
Nice. There you go.
So that's what I do. But, we've been seeing, Vince, he fell off the stage and,
Right.
I understand, and we both understand, when you lose someone close to you in your life,
right,
it's totally devastating and it affects everything else around you.
Yep.
And people aren't giving him the benefit for that.
Right.
And so, but at the same time, dude, hey, Pat, if we're going to go out and tour and we're each going to make $50 million,
I know.
I want to bounce a quarter off your ass, bro.
I know, man.
You know what I mean?
I agree.
But it doesn't take away from him being a performer and a really, really excellent frontman.
Right.
But, I'm surprised he's able to do what he has done.
Yeah.
And for anyone who hasn't seen the Vince Neil band, Vince doesn't even do a full set. He goes and the band plays like, 20 minutes. They do like Zeppelin songs and then he comes back out.
Yeah. He just can't do it.
And then you see him doing like the fat stuff and well, how come we aren't running every day? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that to me is a bummer because I love Motley Crue.
I know.
And the last show that I saw them live is when they started from their first album and worked through their whole catalog.
Yeah.
Best show. You were probably there.
Yeah. Rosemont.
Dude, best Motley Crue show I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, if I see him again, am I going to tarnish that?
Probably. And that's the sad thing.
What I mean? The show was really good, though.
Yeah.
I mean, it was really, really good.
Yeah, definitely. And it's a shame. And like you said, that really is, I think, the pinnacle, man, of what the problem is. He lost his daughter. I mean,
absolutely.
I see people, they'll say things, and it's funny because many times I go on Facebook or whatnot, and there's something about Motley Crue, and there's something about Vince Neil, and because he just seems to put himself out there, and then this happens, right? And I felt the need. I'm like, hey, man, I posted underneath somebody just a whole bunch of comments, and I said, this guy lost his kid, and I'm like, I had cancer. I mean, I get it, I mean, that was a horrible, and his daughter, you
and me have both lost brothers.
Right, and we've both lost brothers, right? So I'm like, that really has an effect on somebody that's unimaginable. So yeah, I get it. He's not the guy he used to be and whatnot, but you got to come some slack.
And that's another thing. Exactly. And, and that's another thing too, is people, like the people are 300 pounds that are watching football and they're bitching about the.
Jeez, right.
But dude, if you got tackled once, you'd be in the hospital.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And
Right.
like one time.
Yeah.
But I mean, you have to give him benefit of the doubt. It's harder to lose weight as you get older. He's got other things going on. He's got issues with addiction that he's dealing with.
Right. I mean, it's
got all this other stuff.
Yeah.
He's got multiple businesses, so he may not have the time.
Right.
He's got his jet service. He's got his booze line. He's got Motley, the Vince Neil thing, and he's always out touring. He never stops.
Yeah, he's always out doing something. Yeah, I mean,
and here's the other thing too. The reason why people are having such the vitriol against him is because now everyone's used to seeing bands that don't sing.
I know.
They're used to lip syncing.
Yep.
And everything being piped in, like background vocals. Can we just have, and people can say whatever they want about David Lee Roth, but dude, that guy was 0% body fat.
I know.
Little goofy. Who cares? That's Dave.
Yeah.
Put on a great show.
Yeah.
No piped in vocals.
Right.
And you know what? He didn't always sound the same, but you know what? He's Dave.
Yeah. Right.
You know?
I mean, yeah.
What else could do with it?
Yeah, I mean Van Halen. I was lucky enough to see them when David Lee Roth came back, and yeah, man. I mean, it was just a great show, and he's like the front man, right?
Absolutely.
So, yeah, I don't know, man. It's a shame.
Neil is a disciple of Dave,
right? Exactly. Yeah, but it's a shame, and like I said, I just don't. I didn't know where you stood on that, but that was a good surprise. We were kind of on the same page, but it's just sad. It's sad to see that, and I did, like I said, and listening. I don't know if you ever heard this, so I queued this up for us tonight because so I'm listening to all the albums, and on Amazon they've got some the albums with like bonus tracks, right? And this one had bonus. This was Dr. Feelgood album, and the bonus tracks were some demos. Have you ever heard the demo for "Kickstart My Heart"?
I don't think so.
Okay, I'm gonna play a clip, and you're gonna. It's funny because like it's kind of cool to hear what the band thought the song was going to sound like before they released the song and changed it. Yeah. And this is one of the first times I really got to hear like something where I said, "Dude, thank God you changed the song," because I'm like, "What were you thinking?" But here, I'm gonna play this clip, and you're gonna enjoy, or you're gonna hate me for ruining the song for you. Here we go. Remember, it's a demo.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Not bad yet, but wait till the chorus. Here we go. I hate this. Or maybe it's not here yet. Yeah. Dude, they did ooh ah instead of whoa yeah.
Right?
Who does ooh ah? I was like, oh my God, thank God you guys changed that.
Well, they missed one. They should have had a third one and said right there.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Ooh, right there.
Yeah, they totally missed the vote on that one.
But that front part that wasn't in the demo.
It wasn't in there. Yeah,
he got that from like some what's the guy who was married Steven Tyler's ex-wife?
Oh man,
I don't want to work. I want to bang on my drums all day.
Yeah.
It's from one of his songs.
Really?
Yeah. So I thought that was cool.
That's
Plus,
pretty cool.
He's a big Jeff Beck fan,
Yeah, he's a huge Jeff Beck fan. Yeah, he's supposed to be doing a solo album.
It's supposedly all done, but there's problems with vocals. Karobi was supposed to be on a few tracks.
Really?
Something happened, and
See, I like John Corabi, and like I said, we're listening to that Crew album today. I mean, it's ahead of its time. I think it came out I don't know. Just, I mean, was it 94 or something like that? And that's like, it was just, I thought it was a great album. Like I said, I listened to it today and I was like, wow, I forgot how good this album was.
Yeah, and it was very Beatles influenced.
Yes. Yeah, big time, big time.
You know, like that demo that we just heard there, I could hear a lot of Too Fast for Love in Vince's vocal in the first verse.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Because it's a lot more raw than the polished, you know, and that, I think that's what gives metal kind of, because I hate saying hair metal. Like, you know, half these guys lost their hair already and they're still playing. But, you know, I mean, to me, it's metal. It's rock, you know, whatever. But I think it got to the point where it became so polished. But I think, like, Bob Rock was basically producing everybody. Him and Mutt Lange, you know. So their fingerprints are all over everything. They're songwriters on everything.
Desmond Child was writing all the songs.
Desmond Child, yeah. So, and I think, and Vince, and this is funny because I think I made a point about this earlier. When I listened to, like I did this the other day, I listened to all the Def Leppard albums. And by the time I got to Slang, and I love Vivian Campbell. With Dio, he was amazing. I love Vivian Campbell. Great, phenomenal guitar player. And, he, you know, when he joined Def Leppard, I was like, oh man, the band might get even a little more, you know, ballsier, a little more growl to the band, you know, but they went the other way. And I mean,
Vivian's the hired gun, man.
He kind of really is. Now, have you listened to his band Last in Line?
Yes.
Oh my God, dude. I saw them live like 4 times already.
Really?
Yeah. They are. I brought my brother. The last time we went to go see them was before COVID. So I went to go see them. They came here. I think they played somewhere in the city. Now, when I was sick and I had cancer, I had, you know, I was doing my blog, right? And the guitar player from Firehouse, who that we played with, you were there. He reached out to me, Bill Leverty, and he's like, "Hey man, you know, I've been reading your blog. Do you mind if I share it on my Facebook?" I said, "Oh, not at all." I'm like, you know, I hope it helps people, you know, kind of reading it and seeing what I've been going through.
Absolutely.
And so he shared it, and you know, a bunch of people had reached out, and one lady reached out to me and said, "Hey, I have a friend who had Hodgkin's lymphoma and plays guitar. Do you mind if I give him your info or whatnot?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure." I'm like, "Please go ahead, share it." So next thing you know, I got Vivian Campbell emails me.
Get the fuck out.
Yeah, dude, I was blown away. I'll admit it. I'm a man, whatever. I cried. I read this guy's email and I'm like, you have got to be kidding me. So next thing you know, I got tickets to go see Last in Line down in the city. And it was just, it was awesome. And they're just, and I was sitting like, I mean, I could basically reach over and just touch his guitar. That's how close they got me. So,
and it took a lot for Vivian to do that because he felt weird about playing Dio. And it was such a crime.
Yeah.
When he went to Whitesnake, because that was a total departure from what.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I was surprised. I was blown away that he was no longer in Dio and Dio went with this 18-year-old kid. I'm like, what?
Yeah, I know, me too. I saw.
You know,
I got to see him.
Was smart at that time. He actually should have hopped over to Ozzy, but
yeah. You got Zach at the time, but
or maybe even Deep Purple.
But look at how much money he made with Whitesnake. He can't. I mean, and then plus he was he was a hired gun because that whole album, that Whitesnake album, was already recorded by John Sykes. He played all the guitars on it. Mm-hmm. And then next thing you know, you got him and Adrian Vandenberg, and they're all of a sudden they're in the videos and they're playing, they're touring and whatever. Right. But whatever. I mean, now that we're older and we could kind of go back and look and see how. I mean, back then it was just like smoke and mirrors and magic for us. These bands, right? You know, I was like, oh my God, you know, I'd love to be them. But now you can see it's a business. You know, contracts and what are you paying me? I got.
Can you imagine when 1984 came out by Van Halen and Jump was everywhere, and we found out that the guy who did Science.
Right.
His keyboard part.
Yeah.
We would have freaked.
I know.
Because there was this one part that Eddie couldn't get on the keyboards, and he brought in Howard, and he fucking did it.
He did it. Right. Yeah. It's just like Kiss. Like, how many times have I heard stories about Ace Frehley was so drunk they got somebody else to play guitar on the album? Yeah. You know.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And Peter Criss didn't play on all those albums.
Right. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so it's
Anton Fig.
Yeah, Anton Fig,
drummer.
Yep. Yeah.
And then, of course, he recorded Ace Frehley's solo album with Ace, and then played with Ace for years after that. But wow,
I know. Yeah, it's kind of crazy, but that's the name of the
so
game.
Def Leppard, right?
Yep. I don't know.
I have to give those guys props. You know, even though their music got more totally overproduced, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But people liked it. You know, I'm not discounting. But they kept the drummer. Anyone else would have got rid of him.
Yeah, I know.
The fact that they kept him, dude, was great. And then electronic drums became a thing because of him and Alex Van Halen. But
yeah, and Alex, right? Yeah, I heard. Now I don't remember the whole story, but that he couldn't get the drums down with his one arm, and they had somebody come in and teach him. The guy who taught him was blind or something. You know anything about that? I don't know.
That sounds about right.
That sounds about right, though. Some blind guy taught him how to play with one arm. But
that's entertainment,
When I first heard, that album, and I'm like, he's got one arm, not knowing, they got the electronic set and everything's, a little bit different. But just the beats he was doing, everything like that, I was blown away. And yeah, you got to give props to the band to keep this guy.
And the whole sound changed, and they became even bigger than they were.
Right. Yeah, and that I read about because I love their background vocals, and I know when we were in the studio recording our album, I was like, man, there was one or two songs where I wanted kind of like that Def Leppard, I wanted those background, I wanted those harmonies, and I remember talking to the engineer, and I was like, hey man, I'd love to get this sound, and he's like, yeah, you get Def Leppard then. I'm like, yeah, I guess so. Right. It's them. I mean, not too many people can do that.
Okay, we're gonna have to do 100 tracks of background vocals.
Right,
that's just you. Then we got the next guy.
Exactly. Yeah, but it's cool. I mean,
Def Leppard. As they went on there, whatever. I would still see them.
Oh yeah,
they have a great catalog.
Yeah. I'd still see them live.
Then who else is on there?
Poison's on there. You got to give it to Bret Michaels can still sing.
Be part of that tour.
No,
I get why they are because they're still playing, all over the place.
Right.
But to me, they don't fit.
Right.
In that lineup, like Tesla would have been better.
I love Tesla.
Imagine if Queensryche was stuck in there.
Yeah. Well, I don't know with Motley Crue though. I gotta tell you, dude. And I was gonna bring it up, but I was gonna ask you like one of your favorite concerts recently. But when you and I we both had our sons with us, and we went to go see Queensryche.
Yeah,
that was an amazing show,
dude. That was great.
I know. Yeah, I mean, God, Todd. Man, that guy's voice, and there's nothing against Jeff.
Recorded an album in Florida. Juice. They're tracking right now.
Yeah, they're doing a new album right now. Yeah, I can't wait to hear that. And then they got that Mike Stone playing guitar again. I don't know how that's gonna. I mean, I just Chris DeGarmo, man. I kind of missed that, but what are you gonna do? These bands they interchange.
Rockefeller is suing the two remaining original members.
Is he?
Yeah, for breach of contract because. He never said he was out of the band, but they asked him to say they were recording. He never showed up, never got back to them. So
right, I heard that. And then Todd recorded all the drums.
Yeah, on the latest album, on the album before this one.
Correct. Right. Yeah, that's
Todd's a fierce drummer, dude.
He is. I mean, I saw a video of him on some Monsters of Rock cruise where he
playing with Stryper.
Oh my God! Right.
Yeah, he's a huge Stryper fan. And then so Michael Sweet's posting this thing. He's like, hey, I want to do a duet with someone who, and I did Todd LaTorre 25 times.
Yeah. Oh, he's got to. Because, I mean,
when I was talking to Todd backstage at the show before you and I went to, the one, I'm like, dude, because we're talking about being big Stryper fans.
Right.
And that we're both atheists and we thought it was funny. And, and I'm like, dude, you need to do a song with him. That would be great.
Yeah.
And when it came out, I was just, and Todd singing those lines. That's great.
Yeah. I mean, I got to tell you, my wife and I just went to go see Stryper not too long ago at the Arcada Theater, and they were just amazing. I mean, that guy, his voice, Michael Sweet's voice, to this day, and he's like one of the hardest working musicians. I mean, have you heard the stuff he did with George Lynch?
Yeah, the Sweet Lynch Project.
Sweet Lynch Project, awesome.
George Lynch and Michael Sweet and Joe Bonamassa are the hardest working musicians in the world.
Yeah, they're constantly recording. They're constantly putting on product, and it's not garbage.
Right.
That's what's amazing.
Album, Michael Sweet just finished writing the album face down because his his retina detached.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's crazy, man. Yeah.
And then Oz gets, he's deaf in one ear now because he got that tumor removed on the one side.
Yeah. I've been kind of following
Stryper
that.
was my first paid professional entertainment gig.
Was it really?
Yeah. Shout out to Devil.
No,
at the Odeum.
No kidding. At the Odeum. That's cool, man.
Yeah. So then it gets better, Pat.
Yeah.
So I'm doing the thing, they don't like anyone in the room when they're doing sound check.
Right.
So I talked to Michael and a couple of other guys previously during the day. Because I looked like this guy they all knew. And for like 10 years, people would call me Mike. Right? I ran into this dude, Mike, in L.A. like 10 years later, 12 years later.
Right.
And he's like, Vince. And I go, Mike. And we couldn't talk to each other because it was that weird. Because we looked exactly. So, like, everyone, all the rockers thought I was this Mike guy. So, I, wave him in.
That's funny.
So they're like, okay, we need someone to, put the front skirt on. And Mike's like, well, ask Vince. So I go there. So I'm like, hey, we cover, To Hell with the Devil and this, that, and the other. We covered like 3 songs of Stryper's.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, that's cool. So I'm putting the scrim up in the front, or the front curtain,
right?
Underneath the stage.
Yeah.
And they start, they start the intro to. I'm like rocking along with it. He goes, come up and sing with me. I'm like, what?
Oh, nice.
Dude, I got to sing The Hell with the Devil with Michael Sweet.
That is awesome.
All my friends are outside and no one saw it. They just heard it.
Of course, right?
I'm like, oh my God. And, no one had cell phones.
Right.
I was like, oh.
They're
a great band.
Cool. Yeah.
One of my favorite bands.
Yeah.
Under Van Halen.
Right.
They're right up there. And people are like, well, how can you like a Christian band? I'm like, because they put out good music.
They put out good music. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing, it's funny because it's probably been about 4 or 5 years now that I've been playing guitar with the worship band at church, and it's funny because people will be like, dude, you're like a metal guy. I'm like, okay, so I said, well, first of all,
you're a musician.
I'm a musician, I am a Christian, but I mean, being a musician, and I took that little tidbit, that George Lynch said about play, expand your horizons, play different music. And I was so pigeonholed, and playing metal all the time that I'm like, I'm not that great of a guitar player. And I was really a shitty acoustic guitar player. And I always wanted to be a better acoustic guitar player. So, although, when I kind of started going, checking out the church, my daughter was going there for Awana, where they have for kids and stuff like that. And she invited me and said, Dad, the church is going to do a Christmas video or something. I'm okay, cool. And it was right before I started my radiation in 2016. So it was the Christmas of 2015. So I go to the church and everything, and I meet the pastor, and he was really cool, and we talked a little bit. And so, okay, they do the thing, and then they got these big TV screens because it's, a contemporary, just Christian church, non-denominational. And they got the big TVs up, and then they play this video. So everyone in the church, the staff and the elders, and they all played a role in this movie that they did, right? And the pastor, he played what's his name from Die Hard? Bruce Willis's character, you know what I'm talking about, with the sunglasses.
Oh,
yeah. So he plays Bruce Willis's character from Die Hard. He's got a white T-shirt on, the sunglasses. So it goes on and on. They do the skit. John McCain, thank you. So at the end of the little movie, the camera flips to the pastor, and he looks and he goes, "Yippee-ki-yay, and it cut off. And I said, and Vince, I said, I could go to church here. I can come here to church. You know what I mean? So I felt so.
Now, were you just not going? Had you just lapsed in going to a church, or were you not interested at the time?
Yeah, like you. and like I grew up a Catholic boy, being from an Italian family. We had the altar of Jesus in the house that his eyes always followed me. Right? So, and dude, to top it off, I had 2 aunts that were nuns in Italy.
Oh boy.
Yeah. One was in one of those convents that where you can't go nowhere. The other one was able to travel and whatnot. Yeah. But, so I had that as my, my experience growing up. And I was also an altar boy. So that wasn't exactly, so I had that whole, my brother died from an overdose, got cancer. I was kind of in the, what did God do to me? You know what I mean? Kind of in my life. Sure. And I was, I was pissed off, and, there was a lot of soul searching there for a long time. But, when I went there, I don't know. I mean, the best way I can put it is when, Pastor Steve is the pastor, and he's still there. When he spoke, I felt God's presence. I was like, man, when this guy speaks, he speaks, and he doesn't speak down. He speaks to you. You know what I mean? Right. And I've had that bad experience, with the pastors and, the churches where it's always about money. Give us your money. Reach deep into your pocketbooks and take his hand. Right? Queensryche, right? So when I noticed that they were not like that, so it was more laid back. Everybody there was very laid back, very real. And the band was cool. I'm like, wow, I never seen anything like this. This is they have music, and it's pretty cool. And so they had asked me, like, oh, do you play guitar? Because I started kind of talking to the band. I said, well, I fiddle around a little bit, So just a little. So they asked me to come in and jam with them. And at that time, I was still learning how to play again because I had neuropathy in my hands from the chemotherapy. Yeah. And so I was a little intimidated, but I went, and I started jamming a little bit with them, and they're like, hey, we'd like to have you on Sundays. And I was like, oh, cool. Yeah, I'll do it, And it was different because it's more like contemporary rock Christian music. I've never played any of that stuff before. And it made me a better player because what happens is they get a set list. They send it out during the week. I kind of look at it. And then I show up on Sunday, and on my music stand is sheet music for the 5 or 6 songs we're going to play. And sometimes I go, shit, I should have listened to those songs. And then, the one who's leading the band that day will say, okay, here's the song. This is kind of how I want it to go. We're going to cut this chorus out. We're going to change this. And, by the way, I can't sing it in A, so we're going to sing it in C sharp. And I was like, oh, Jesus, man, I can't transpose on the fly. I'll admit that I'm not that good of a guitar player. So I was like, but it taught me how to do that. Right. And it put me in a position where I had to be better. And I was really nervous at first, and I was getting to play with different musicians. The drummer, they had a few different drummers. One of them used to be, or was, in a punk band, so it was really cool. It was just a lot of different personalities. I got to play with a lot of different people. And now we're kind of down to a good rotation of normal musicians that are always there. And now I'm at the point where I've played almost every song, so I don't even look at anything till I show up on Sunday. And I'm like, am I on acoustic or electric? Let me know.
Right, and you're keeping stage time too. So
yeah, and it's great. And my acoustic playing, everything has gotten better, and it's cool. And what's really different is I'm playing to this packed house. And now I'm playing music, which before I was playing music, so people go, fuck yeah. And now I'm playing music where people come and connect with God. And then they come up to me and say, man, I love watching you play up there. I love, and then I told the pastor one time, because he came out to me and he's like, we love, because I move up. I'm playing a metal show. You know what I mean? And I said, am I doing all right? I'm like, he goes, if you start smashing guitars and it gets too much, I'll let you know, I was like, all right, cool. I get into the music regardless. You know what I mean? Like you said, with Striper. So we play some songs. There's a song that I got to play on acoustic, and I play it now. It gets into the rotation every couple of months or so. And the first time I played it, I was like, this is so different from anything I've ever done, but it made me feel so accomplished. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because I have, like you, I have friends in a shit ton of bands, and and they just happen to be purists,
Right?
And I'm not going to play covers. I'm like, what are you going to learn?
Right.
Like, fine, you can have 5 people show up to your show. Good luck.
Exactly.
And people, the cover bands, this, that, and the other. Dude, we know people that, Joey and Lisa are in a fucking great fucking cover band. It's one of the best in Chicago.
Yeah.
And they knock it out of the park every time they hit the stage. You know what I mean?
Look at Seventh Heaven. Those guys are amazing. You know what I mean? And I mean, we just went to go see them just last week, and what a great show. And yeah, I mean, to me, playing covers, that's where I get my ideas for original music all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got tunes where I got the hook or the riff, and I mean, it's different, but I mean, I got the idea, from jamming some other songs,
Yeah, it's like I talk to some people like, oh, well, I'm like, well, dude, you got an album coming out. How many shows you doing? Oh, I'm only doing 3 or 4. I'm like, what?
Wow.
I'm like, what do you mean? I'm like, dude, start a cover band or put covers in your set,
Well, the problem is
cover band. Do you want to make money as a music? Do you want to be a musician? Do you want to be a songwriter?
Right.
And that's fine.
Right.
But if you want to play,
make money.
And the more times you play in public, you're going to get better.
Right.
So it's weird seeing the diehards kind of go that way.
They are. I've seen that too. But I think the problem is, it's. I mean, what COVID has done to, like we were saying earlier, to the whole entertainment industry, right? So now, I've noticed. Now I've gone out and I've seen a couple bands. There's a cool Doc and tribute band I went to go see. They were playing one night with a Cinderella cover band and a Van Halen cover band, or was it a Motley Crue? It was Motley Crue. I've seen a couple of them. But I see like all these guys are like intertwining different bands. They're all, so trying to start a cover band now. As I had a buddy of mine that reached out to me and said, "Hey, let's start a cover band," and I was like, "Yeah, you know what? I want to play." I'm like, "So why not? Let's do that." But I want to play more stuff that. I don't want to go out there and play Jesse's Girl. I mean, hey, it's cool. These bands are playing it, but let's play something like Toto, Hold the Line. You know what I mean? Nobody's really doing that. Let's play stuff like Triumph. Let's play, I want to play something that's a little bit more, I don't want to say obscure, because then nobody, like, wait, what song is that? But, the popular songs that are just not played all the time.
Right. And, like, talking to Panacea, because I was talking about, going up and jamming with him. He's like, okay, so what song? I'm like, well, right before I almost died from Corona 19, that's before they rebranded it.
Right.
I sang Wanted Dead or Alive, went home, got sick, hospital, almost died.
Right.
And then my brother winds up dying during, he committed suicide during the, first weeks of the pandemic.
Right.
So I lost my brother and I'm still here.
Right.
So I need to sing that song in public.
Right.
To make it right with the universe and my belief.
And your belief. Right. Sure.
And so I'm asking, he's like, oh, we do this song. Oh, no, we can't do that one because the other band does that one. Just like, trying to figure out 3 songs, like, oh, they can't do that because the other band does that one. And then you got to,
yeah.
It's kind of funny the way that it works,
Yeah, it is.
Like, why is everyone playing the same songs?
Everyone's,
I totally agree with what you're saying.
Right. Everyone's playing the same stuff. So to me, it's like, I'd rather, like, if you're going to play Rick Springfield, why are you going to play Jesse's Girl? Human Touch is a pretty awesome song. Play that one. You know what I mean? And like I said, if you're going to play Toto, why Africa? Do Hold the Line. I mean, play something that people are not playing. Okay, how many times do you see a cover band that's doing, rock and whatever, and does Bryan Adams? They do Summer '69. Okay, why not do Kids Wanna Rock, or a different song from something that was still popular, but I mean, it's because right now there's no original music really out there for local bands.
No,
there really
there's
isn't.
nowhere to play it.
There's nowhere
to play it.
Exactly, and there's nowhere to play. And back in the day, you'd have all these people come out to see you, and you can't drag out our for people. I got to get a babysitter, and I got to work tomorrow.
Yeah, like my buddy Mike Reedy, he's had this band Worm for 20 some years,
right?
But he also does a Nine Inch Nails cover band,
right?
That plays a House of Blues,
right? Where are you making the money there? Exactly. My old bass player, he plays in a Metallica tribute band, and they're doing great shows and stuff like that, and he loves it. You know what I mean? So, and he's got his own original band, and it's a little different from what we were doing, but he sings and he does that, and that's his original stuff. But they're not playing anywhere.
Right.
Yeah, it's kind of sad. I mean, I think. I hate to say it, but it's like it's going to be a couple of years before that swing comes back, where original music and everything. Because now, maybe it's our generation, I don't know, but we go out, have a couple drinks, whatever. I like to go see the cover bands. I like to hear the music. You know what I'm saying? I dig it, and it's the ones that are out there now are great musicians, and they're doing it.
Yeah, like I tried for years, like when I was originally doing band stuff. I'm like, dude, let's bring in some big band elements. I'm like, not necessarily horns, but the way that they do their rhythms, the way that they do their runs with the horns. Right. Dude, you add that with like your Anthrax crunch, throw a little bit of Eddie. Dude, that's going to sound amazing.
Of course.
And they're like, you're crazy.
Yeah.
But I was back then listening to jazz and blues. And, no one knew who Coltrane was other than me.
Exactly.
Or Glenn Miller or,
Right. I had a dream.
Italian crooner guys.
Right. I had a dream to start a Huey Lewis tribute band. But
dude, Huey Lewis is awesome.
He's awesome. He's got you could play like a 2-hour set with all his hits. But the problem is where you're going to get Huey? You got to get the Huey.
Right.
Without Huey, I mean,
right.
you lose it. You got to have someone that can sing like that. But
I always had this idea, like, why isn't someone going out and doing a cover band? If you play for 90 minutes, you do a half-hour Kiss, half-hour Van Halen, a half-hour Scorps, or whatever your third band is. Just rotate them.
Right.
Because people, if they hear you do a song that's great from that band, they want to hear another one.
They want to hear another one. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know. Everyone's got their own
exactly.
Way of doing it. So, but it's cool. I hope it comes back. Like I said, I mean, for now, I'm just kind of.
End of the month, it lifts. Chicago, and the venues are not going to have vax mandates.
Right, which I think is going to start to bring people back. I'm hoping. Yeah. But it's going to take a little bit.
I wasn't going to go to any show or any venue from here on out that you couldn't go if you didn't have XYZ.
Right.
And that's not an opinion on pro or con of whatever's going on. This music is supposed to be enjoyed by everybody.
Right. And it's, here you're taking something, and I promise not to talk about this, but here you're taking something that's a personal choice. You're forcing people, and you're basically sucking the joy out of what do we have, man? We get up, you go to work, we got issues, we got problems, we got deaths and families. We want to go out and enjoy ourselves. Go get some dinner, have a couple of drinks, go see a band, and now you want to suck the life out of us, and you can't do that.
It's a great healer, man.
Right, man. It's the universal language, right? I mean,
absolutely.
Every time you think of it.
That was my kind of view on it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree.
I'm glad that they're opening up venues because the venues don't want to lose money.
No, I mean, they don't, of course, and bands, I mean, that's another thing. They're not, how much money do you think they're making when the venue's not making any money?
Right. And everyone's supposed to feel sorry for Live Nation because they went down, they dropped 91% of their profit.
Right.
But then they started this thing where they're screwing the bands. There's no guarantee. Now, if you miss 3, because, basically the dude from a band that sounds like Means Crike was saying that basically if you skip 3 shows, if someone gets sick,
right,
you're bankrupt.
Yeah, jeez.
Because now you don't have the guarantee. You have to pay for 2 other dates other than the one that you missed.
Wow.
And then the guarantees went down.
Right.
Went down they took 25% off the guarantee, and then there was a whole bunch of different fine structures for every little thing, and it basically bands are like, well, why even tour?
Right. Why even tour? Yeah, no, that's a shame.
1,800 bands were suing Live Nation.
Wow,
led by Paul McCartney. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Well, I just can just hope that when the mandates lift, that everything will start slowly going back to normal. So we'll go from there.
All right, so back to Motley Crue real quick.
Yeah.
So what do you think? Because they made this whole thing, cease the touring. They did this whole big thing with the hearse and the tombstones and all that. So what's your opinion on are they really retired?
I don't think so. I mean, I don't think so. I mean, their movie got big. They got the dirt, and everything like that. And look, I mean, if you have a product that sells, why stop? And I mean, I get it. Like Nikki Sixx has gone on and done his own stuff. Tommy Lee's gone on and done his own stuff. Of course, Vince, he's always touring and playing, and he's got the Vince Neil band. And then, Mick Mars obviously was writing and stuff. And of course, Mick had his health problems and whatnot, right? But I mean, I don't know. I don't know how you can retire. I think I know what they were trying to do, by doing that, is just kind of saying, hey, look, we want to go our separate ways and do our own thing. Because I from what I remember reading, I was even reading on it today, that when Karabi left, I think the Motley Crue self-titled album with Karabi didn't really sell that well, even though it was a great album. And Elektra was like, hey guys, they were giving them pressure. You guys got to do something or bring Vince back. Or somebody was getting them, I think it was their manager or something, was like, bring Vince back. You guys got to, got to go back to the old crew and whatnot. And they really didn't want to, and Vince didn't really want to go back. And it wasn't until John Corabi, at one point during recordings, I think I was reading something about him writing music, and then he'd go into the studio and everything was changed. So he was like, you know what, I'm done with this. I'm out, right? So he's out of there. So that gave them prime opportunity to bring, and that's Generation Swine was basically already written and whatnot. And they bring Vince back and, bam, here, sing this. And I don't know. I'm sure after that, I think Tommy left, right? Because then they had Castillo play drums, and he passed away on a New Tattoo. Yeah,
and they also had the drummer from Hole.
Yeah, she toured, right? Because he got sick, and then he died.
I saw the show in down south with her playing drums.
Nice. Yeah, she was.
You couldn't have alcohol at that show. That was weird.
That's weird. Yeah, I saw the DVD. She was awesome, but. Yeah, and then it wasn't until, Tommy came back, and then, so I don't know, man. I mean, I think they went through a lot of different emotions and feelings, and going through all that with, all that stuff happening to them, that they probably were like, let's just kind of call Motley Crue quits, and then let's go do our own thing. But it's hard to, leave it, because that's a
yeah. I think a lot of it had to do with, I don't think Nikki wanted Vince Neil's Motley Crue
right
on the road.
Yeah.
And that actually might be why he splits his set. He may only be able to play. It could be part of the overall, Motley Inc. contract.
Right.
Okay, if you're going to do that, you can only play. Otherwise, you're doing a fucking Motley Crue show.
Yeah, you got a good point.
You know what I mean? So,
yeah.
And Vince Neil only has a couple of solo albums. 3 solo albums?
Yeah, that's all.
But
how many times can you play You're Invited but your friend can't come?
Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
Pauly Shore.
That was a bad.
That Brandino Man or something?
That was a bad time. We don't want to go. We don't want to go back there. But
I figured, that's probably what happened. With the Vince Neil thing.
Yeah, that's a shame.
He's always out there touring. You got to give him credit. He's out there.
No, you do. Yeah, I mean, like I said, that was my whole thought on that. Is it's a shame about people giving him all that shit, and it's sad because he did. And it's sad because he's depressed. Obviously, his daughter. When you watch and you go back and you watch stuff with him and his daughter in the hospital, and dude, you can't. That's just, so yeah, I don't, when I see stuff like that, I don't comment anymore, but I used to, and somebody did actually finally say to me, like, wow, man, I never had somebody or saw somebody come out and say something like that, because everyone's always ripping on the guy. And, nowadays it's sad to see a lot of, people our age or whatnot who've been fans and been listening to these bands and going to see concerts, and these guys are still playing, and you're making fun of them, And it's like, yeah, well, dude, what did you ever do? You know what I mean?
Right.
And at least they're out there. They're still working. They're still doing their thing. It's something that they love. And then some of these guys who, like Vince, who have gone through something that traumatic. I mean, I don't know. I would love to help the guy.
Situation either.
Yeah, right.
So there's a lot going on there.
Yeah, exactly. So
he feels guilty for only being in jail for 30 days.
Right. I mean, that was a horrible, and that was right in the beginning of the career, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that was really early on.
Crazy.
It's a mess. But speaking of all that kind of stuff, let's talk about your show. Tell the listeners, the millions.
Creativity Talking.
Yep.
And I do it with on Saturday nights. It's Saturday Nights Live at the Vag. It's me. I go by V. Some people call me Vince. Some people call me V. Either one works. My roommate from college is Jason Jay. He recorded this little ditty called "I Will Always Love You" by Whitney Houston.
Nice.
He was the engineer on that.
Very
and
cool.
I also do my other buddy, college roommates, comes on, Rob Armstrong. So we have these conversations with guys, can be guys.
Right.
We're not apologizing for being men.
Right.
You know what? Everyone's welcome. But you know what? Sometimes a girl shouldn't be in the Boy Scouts.
Exactly.
And we do have a female component in the show called Man in the Boat.
Nice.
So Captain Crotch, and that's Lynette.
Okay.
And she happens to be my girlfriend.
Nice.
So, so we have people come on and just guys talking. And on Saturday nights, it gets a little rowdy because we're drinking.
Right.
And but we get these great stories pulled out of people. We've saved, two people have called me direct. One was going to take his life in his office. Another one, he had already tied the knot in the rope and he was going to hang himself.
Incredible.
And he listened to my show, and my brother died from suicide. Part of why I did this is to raise awareness for suicide awareness.
Right.
Veterans, you and me, when we met, it was at a show that you were doing with Firehouse for Toys for Tots.
Right.
And ever since then, we've been, buds.
Right.
And so, and seeing your battle with what you went through and everything, and like your weight loss, and I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? So, like, you inspired me to lose weight as well, do the podcast, but I couldn't do it till I found, because I'm a funny guy. I write comedy and satire, but I couldn't find my funny.
Right.
So I had to wait for my funny to come back because my brother was my improv.
Of course. Right.
I do 200 voices. He did 150 something.
Wow.
And so anyway, so now the guy who was the first gentleman who called me direct, he's now starting a nonprofit in Indiana for mental health services for males.
That's awesome.
And just talking shit over a microphone,
right?
Having a couple drinks, and you know what?
You could
now I have all the fuel I need,
right,
to do it for a long time because I know we've helped someone.
You're helping somebody, yeah, exactly. It's you get out there and you never know who's listening.
Yeah, and you know what? Sometimes it hits you weird. You lost your brother. Sometimes it'd be just you hear a song and you look at something, and you just break down, and you know what? That's okay. It's okay, and it's okay for people to talk to people. It's okay if you're a man. Hey,
right,
Pat. How many times when my brother died, dude, you were right there, and I knew I could talk to you,
right,
because you're a real dude,
right.
And we talk about this a lot. You're a Christian, I'm an atheist, but we both do good things,
right,
and we're both good people,
right, exactly.
And you don't have to have a certain outlook to be a good human being.
No, and that's what's missing in this world, dude. That's exactly what's missing.
And I respect your views, and you respect mine,
right.
And you could call me and I'd be there in a second. Right,
exactly, vice versa. And that's and I was really that's when I reached out to you during the tornado. And you're out there helping the church and helping all these people. And I don't think people really understand, and I always say there's Christian like me. Like when I tell my pastor, I'm like, and when I speak at church, I speak very slowly because I drop a lot of F-bombs when I talk. I'm Italian. I'm Italian. You know what I mean? So it's like when you speak, you're speaking slowly. But it's like I see these people who are holier than thou, which is what turned me off to, being a good Catholic boy and being because it's like you can do no wrong. And no, man, we're all flawed.
For younger people, they don't know that we lived through the 80s, which was the religious right weird time.
Right.
And we were the demons.
Right.
As metal guys.
Yep.
We were the bad people.
We were the bad people with the long hair and the freaks doing drugs.
Yeah.
But
exactly, with the good-looking girlfriend.
Right. And the cool cars. But anyway, it's like you can still be that person. Like I tell people all the time, I said, I'm a Christian. Yeah, I follow, Jesus' footsteps, but he ain't even close to being done with me. I screw up every day. I make mistakes every day. And like I said, one of the things I love about where I go to church is because my pastor says the same thing. He goes, I screw up every day. Nobody is perfect, but I don't like these people that walk around saying you're either this or there's no way you can be Christian or you can be whatever, So like you said, you're a good person. Be a good person. That comes from
you're a good human being.
Right. You know what I mean? And help people and that's what we're lacking. And I think this whole the last couple of years
helping your neighbor isn't a religious context.
Right.
It should be a human one.
Right. Just helping people. And I think, like I said, this past couple of years has really, unfortunately, gotten people against each other, division and all this hatred and the masks and this and that. Everything's political. Everyone's angry with each other.
Yeah.
And people are like, well, you're looking at me,
Right.
I'm out here trying to be a good guy, just trying to be a good person. And I stumble, I fall, I get back up. I try to be a good person. But, you have these people that are so angry and are walking around angry and whatnot. And it's crazy. Like I go to the grocery store and, I went to the grocery store the other day and they don't require masks at the grocery store where I go, and everyone wears a mask anyway. And I ran in one day, I didn't have my mask, whatever, so I just ran in to get a couple of things, and I forgot something. I was in line, and I went, and everybody's looking at me funny because I don't have my mask on,
Right.
like I have leprosy, and I forgot my blue cheese. I have to have my blue cheese on my salad, so I went to go pull all my stuff off the belt, and behind me was a lady with her little girl with no mask on. And she's like, what are you doing? I said, you can go ahead in front of me. I forgot something. I'm going to go run and get it. And she's like, no. She goes, just keep your stuff there. Go get your stuff. Go get what you forgot. Yeah. And I'm like, so here's somebody just being nice. They don't know me from, the hole in the wall. And she was really nice to me. And while everyone else is looking at me like I'm some kind of demon because I forgot my mask. You know what I mean? So it's like, it doesn't take anything, whether, and I could relate this to mask and no mask people. I mean, just be nice to people.
Yeah. Like when the tornado hit, like you saw, I was making these videos and posting them. And I was telling people, hey, you don't have a lot of money, but you want to help.
Right.
Do you have enough money for a loaf of bread, some jelly, and a jar of peanut butter?
Something.
You could feed 12 people sandwiches.
Right.
You can go and help.
Yep.
You can, it doesn't cost anything to help people.
Right.
A lot of people are, you got to donate how much I'm not looking for any donations. Put some time in.
Right.
You have all these people who are upset about a lot of issues, and, you see people online and every issue, they're, burning the house down.
I know.
It's like, pick one or two things that you're passionate about and do something.
Right.
Join a committee, join a nonprofit, get on a board, fundraise.
Right.
You know what I mean? You put your money where your mouth is. You're doing Toys for Tots stuff. You're working with the church, and like my buddy Rob always says, he goes, V, I've known you forever. And he's like, you're a better Christian than half the people I know who say they're Christian and you're an atheist.
And that's what I'm trying to say is like they have these out there that, they think just because I don't know. I don't even know how to explain it, but you just explained it. You're a good guy, you're a good person, you do good.
She's like, my girlfriend believes, and she's like, well, we'll try to work on that. And I'm like, whatever. I'm like, I'm not, I totally accept your views and everything. That's cool. If you want me to go, I'll even go.
Right.
But you know what I mean?
And
but
that,
still respects my view.
Of course. And that's the thing. And I never, I never push my views on anybody because whether you believe or not, I think that is a very personal thing for everyone. Now, if like you said to me one day, you said to your girlfriend, you know what? This is what I believe in. Thanks, but I respect you. Then you go there. But if you turned around one day and said, you know what? I got some questions and maybe I'm feeling. That's where I open up and go, okay, let's talk, because I don't know everything. I'm not one of those guys.
Yeah, and I'm not closed to everything. You know,
right.
That took growing up Catholic, that took a huge amount
of
research and reading books and discussions and years of, wrestling with that. I did.
Right.
And then, so now my view is I believe in Buddhist philosophy. Why? Well, because 85% of Buddhists are atheists.
Right.
So what their philosophy totally makes sense to it. So I say I'm an atheist, but I believe in Buddhist philosophy.
Okay, there you go.
But it's still, doing things for the betterment of your human contemporaries.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. And it's cool that now you got your show that's kind of helping people, and that's kind of the epitome of what it means to just be a good human, be a good person, regardless
Absolutely.
of your sex, your color, your religion, whatever, you just be good, be a good person.
I have a perfect answer for all that identity stuff that's happening.
Yeah.
Just tell me your name.
Right, I know.
Tell me your name.
Tell me your name. I love you no matter what, man. I'm with you.
I can shake your hand and we can have a discussion, because I'm not interested in who you kiss.
Right.
I could care less.
I could care less. Yeah.
Right on. I don't care.
Yep.
Are you a good person? Right on.
That's
My
it.
litmus test: are you an asshole or not? If you're not,
right. Exactly. That's where I have to close the door. If you're an ignorant person,
take a doggy biscuit out of your pocket, or are you going to kick the dog?
Right.
It's pretty simple.
Yep, it sure is. So, talk to me. I know you said you pushed your book back, Robot Jesus. I'm like, I can't wait. I'm very interested. Okay. So, talk to me about that book.
Okay, so I saw something happening in the social fabric of our country.
Right.
And everyone thought I was insane, like they normally do, and then they catch up 5 or 6 years later.
Exactly.
And I saw this thing happening that was becoming cancel culture.
Yep.
And it was very scary to me, because I read history, and to me, it's not healthy.
Right.
And when people start censoring, there's never been a time in history when censorship, looking back, was viewed on as a positive.
Correct.
Whoever instills that is not looked upon kindly by history.
Right.
That's just a fact. It's not an alternative fact.
Right.
It's a fact.
Right.
You know what I mean? Read a book. And so I saw this happen, and I'm like, that's funny. I'm like, what? So then there was this reboot craze that was going on, and still is.
Right.
I'm like, what would be funny? What could be like fit into that canvas of cancel culture of a writer trying to do something?
Sure.
I'm like, okay, so he's looking for something he doesn't have to pay rights for. And he goes, Jesus.
Right.
Because it's in the public domain.
Right.
So the story's about this atheist screenwriter in Hollywood.
Okay.
Who decides to reboot and make a contemporary version of the Jesus Christ story.
Nice.
And it's a story that resonates with people.
Right.
Been around for a little bit.
Yep.
And so I'm like, okay. And what people don't realize, they just think, he's an atheist, he's going to piss on Jesus.
Right.
Who said that?
Right, exactly.
No, that's your view of what you think I would think.
Right.
You need to stop doing that. And if you read the Bible, it says, thou shalt not judge, by the way.
Right.
But they all do.
They all do.
And so I was like, this is going to be really interesting. So it turns out, so basically they try to destroy this guy, loses everything,
and
no one's read a single word.
Jeez.
And, the story is, it wasn't about what he was writing. The writer becomes the new Jesus.
He becomes the new Jesus. Gotcha.
And what would people do if there was a second coming?
Right.
They destroy him.
Yeah. You're 100% right, dude. They would.
And so that's basically the canvas of what I do through, there's 10 different versions of different parts of the Jesus story. Kind of like, some of it's kind of like Stations of the Cross.
Right.
But it's a different genre. So I have human trafficking story. I have buddy cop. I have sci-fi, we have space opera.
Right.
All this stuff are different parts of the Jesus story. And all this guy's trying to do is, sell his property.
Sell his property, yeah. Huh.
And he goes and, talks to these people or studio people, and they're religious, and they start trying to, hey, why don't you do this? Why don't you make them this? Why don't you do... I'm like, whoa. The character's like, no, I'm here to protect the story as the writer.
Right.
And that's what people don't understand.
That's pretty cool.
The writer's there to protect the story. It doesn't matter if he believes in it. He believes in the story.
He believes in the story, right? Right.
You know what I mean? A lot of people subscribe to it, but he's not poo-pooing the story.
Right.
And it's really interesting because more Christians I talk to about it, they're all for it. And it's the atheists who have a problem with it.
Yeah, I'm excited.
That was what I learned.
Yeah.
So I thought that was funny. So that's my learning experience from that book. But what I did, and you ever hear of method acting?
Yes.
Well, I did a thing called method writing.
All right.
In order to write the story of someone like that, you have to have nothing.
Right.
So I gave up my place, moved in, took care of my mom. I lost everything.
Okay. And
Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to write that book.
Right. You kind of brought yourself to the character in the book.
Yes.
Nice.
Because otherwise, it wouldn't be fair. Because as an artist, musician, writer, whatever, if you're not brutally honest, your art's not going to work.
Right. 100%.
And I probably won't do another thing like that ever again.
Yeah, right. Right. But what a great concept.
Have to fake it, not go method. But,
yeah.
But Reboot Jesus comes out on Easter Sunday.
Awesome. I'm excited. I can't wait. I can't wait.
Be cool.
Yeah, definitely. And you're gonna get it on Amazon and all that good stuff.
Oh yeah. It'll be on vaudevilleppress.com. It's my publishing company.
Great.
I just signed on 4 authors. So we're gonna have in 2023 we're gonna have like 15 releases.
Awesome.
And so we're also doing online content. We're working on educational programs, working on actually documenting history for a tribe up in Alaska that lost its sovereignty in 1940, and now they have to regain it, so we have to write their history.
Nice.
So there's all this stuff that, So what I do, everything I try to give back in some way.
Right.
So.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I like I said, that's what I do with, playing in church. That's my give back, I love it. It makes me feel fulfilled. And I love playing guitar, right? So that's just kind of a no-brainer.
You're in stage time and you're doing what you love.
Yeah. So.
And it's going to help. It's just going to help you with your stuff.
Right. Right. Yeah, it's awesome, dude. So, good, dude. Awesome, man. I can't wait for the book. Like I said, I'm for a long time, I've been kind of following you. You've been putting that together and stuff, and I'm just like, this looks really interesting. And now that I know that,
it kept on changing and changing.
Yeah.
First, it was a movie script, then it was a book, then it was a movie script, then it was a book.
Yeah, that happens, though, right?
Yeah, and then I'm like, okay, so it's a book with movie scripts in it.
Right there, you go. That's okay. Yeah. Nothing wrong with that. Well, dude, that's awesome, man. Well, awesome, dude. Well, dude, I think that's the show. We've hit everything we wanted to talk about. I'm definitely you're coming back because that's awesome. I had a great time, and for my first episode, and for everybody out there listening, give out your where can they find your show?
You can find Creativity Talking on Spotify, Apple, all the usual suspects. You can get us on vaudevilleppress.com, VincentKustush.com. That's VincentKustush.com. We're also on Facebook, and we also have a YouTube channel, Creativity Talking. We just, about 12 shows ago, we went to video.
Nice.
And so now we're doing both. But,
that's awesome. Yeah, I'll definitely send me all the links, and then I'm going to put them on our Facebook page, and you can check us out on Facebook at the Beard Speaks Podcast at Facebook, and I'll have all the links for Vince's book and his website, everything, Facebook, everything will be up there. And you can also check us out on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcast, Overcast, Amazon Music, Stitcher, iHeartRadio. It's all there.
Yep.
It's all there. The usual suspects.
All those, yeah.
Right, they're all there. And definitely, I want to recommend, since you're going to laugh your ass off, and it's really funny. My wife and I watched it the other night, but get some time. I don't know if you have Netflix, but
I have all the I review shows. So
there you go. Maybe you've seen this already. Have you seen The Last Blockbuster?
No.
Okay, get on Netflix and watch The Last Blockbuster. It's all about the very last Blockbuster video that's still in operation today.
Yes. I saw that.
Oh,
Yes.
did you see that? Yeah.
Dude, I watch so much shit. Like sometimes you got to tell me what the show is. Oh, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna say that's my recommendation because we watched it last night. We were just laughing. It was pretty cool, but it kind of brought you back to the old days. So when you said you got how you guys just went to video, that's cool because it kind of like that. Kind of ties back into everything we talked about today, how the world has changed, how COVID has changed, and why probably people, or how COVID has changed people and, the entertainment industry. But it's almost like the loss of those video stores of going and watching, people walk in and out and, who's buying, renting what video, and you're looking for it's like that human interaction is gone today.
Right.
It's gone, and that's watching that just made me kind of say, "Wow, we just live in a different world."
Yeah, if people want to get an inside look, no matter what their opinion is on the big pharmaceutical companies, I suggest everyone watch Dope Sick with Michael Keaton. It is a fantastic show.
My wife and I got hooked on that. I saw you posted something about that one day, and I'm like, "Oh, I love Michael Keaton," so I'm like, I had to jump on there and watch Dope Sick. That was just amazing.
Yeah.
So
and Michael Keaton, the last big projects that he's doing, he's lending his name to do other stuff, so he can do stuff like that. He can do the other one where he was a editor for the Pittsburgh newspaper, about the Catholic priest scandal. So he's doing these shows that are pro citizen, and a lot of people aren't pro citizen anymore. They just want to paint things in the broader strokes, but.
Yeah.
So kudos to Michael Keaton.
Yeah, for sure. No, he's awesome. So very cool, man. So we'll have you back on, and like I said, I'm excited that you're on my first Beard Speaks podcast, and even though we didn't really talk much about beards, but we will soon. We all got the beards, and everybody out there, check out Kingsmen beard products. You go to kingsmenpremium.com. They got a 20% off your first order on that. It's really, I don't know if you ever tried it, man, try it out. I love their stuff, and I get it. I get it monthly. It's good beard oil and good beard butter. That's my good stuff. People gotta love the beard. So that's it, man. Don't hang up, and I'll talk to you in a second. But everybody else, I thank you for coming over from the last podcast and visiting and checking out the new show, and hopefully, you dig it. And peace out.
Thanks for having me on, Pat. Love you, brother.
Hey, love you, man, and no problem. Because like I said, two people like us can sit here and talk for, I don't know, probably 4 hours. I don't know if I could record that long, but anyway, it's awesome. And I'm going to fade out, and thank you again. And I don't know. Love you all. Peace.